Hello everyone, welcome to another video here on CNC Production. Do you guys like Monster Hunter? You know, that really cool game where you get to run around and kill monsters and stuff? Well, I don't know if you've heard, but they're coming out with a new game in this series, Monster Hunter Rise, for the Nintendo Switch. And to say I'm surprised, or to say I'm excited, is a bit of an understatement. I am insanely hyped for this game. But there's a little bit of a vocal minority here that are not very excited. And yeah, I'm a little bit late to this particular party. I know a lot of other YouTubers have talked about these people, but we're here today to look at some bad Monster Hunter takes. And there's some doozies in here. So yeah, this is gonna be interesting. We're gonna start off with this guy. The graphics look really off to me. Looks like a huge downgrade from World. So here's a common theme that you're going to see with all these bad takes, is that these people are mad because the Switch doesn't have as good graphics as a high-end PC, PlayStation 5, or Xbox One, which, well, duh. A lot of these people seem to think that good graphics equals good game, and that's literally not true. A lot of my favorite games of all time contain graphics that, like, aren't fantastic, or aren't meant to be photorealistic. I think photorealism works pretty well with Monster Hunter because, you know, you want to really be immersed in the world and stuff like that, especially with a game that you're going to spend so much time in. But these people tend to forget, like, the graphics that we had up until now were not as good as World. Like, even Generations Ultimate, like, granted, I think that the graphics of all Monster Hunter games are impressive for their time and for when they came out, even going all the way back to Freedom Unite. Like, the graphics are really good for their time, anyway. There's really no Monster Hunter game that I would consider not graphically impressive. But we had tons of fun in those games. Hundreds and hundreds of hours spent in those games. And for them to turn around and act like, oh, well, bad graphics means we can't enjoy the game anymore. It's really shallow. It's just not true. All the monsters have the same basic look. All of them look like a demonic chicken. I don't get the popularity of this game. You know, what really hurts is that the monster that's pictured is a Latreon. Like, it'd be different if, like, this dude was talking about, like, a Kulu-Yaku or a Yain-Kuku. But no, he's talking about a Latreon? Why? This thing literally is terrifying. Like, this thing's design is great. Demonic chicken, yes. The blazing black dragon, a Latreon, yes. Very good. I'm not even gonna get into this article here. This dude's ranking the Elder Dragons from, or basically ranking the most powerful Elder Dragons, and this dude puts Teostra at the top. Many fans consider Teostra to be the unofficial king of the Elder Dragons, like a Simba who has yet to challenge Scar Xeno'jiiva for dominance. What is this person talking about? The lion-faced monster can cover his body in flames and sprinkle the area with explosive black dust. This is the same kind of person who would unironically argue that a Nergigante has a chance going up against Fatalis or something like that. Just, no. Guess Monster Hunter World is done? Cash grab to fund the movie being made by Lux. So, no. Not at all. Monster Hunter Rise is going to be just... It's not even a comparison. You see, you have, like, the Andromeda Galaxy, like, far out in outer space, like, this glorious celestial body. And then you have, like, the dust under your feet. And that is the Monster Hunter movie. I've seen it. I wasted $12 on it. It was a disaster. This dude's an idiot. Yes, Monster Hunter World is done. And no, this is not a cash grab for the movie. If anything, the movie is because of the game. You're a trash, lol. I only played Monster Hunter World, and I don't want to ever go back to trash graphics. Okay, let me stop you right there. Monster Hunter World is literally the only game that this dude has ever played. And he says he doesn't want to go back to trash graphics. You're not going back to anything. So, for a bit of context, I started Monster Hunter back in Try. I didn't really play it very much because I played it over at my friend's because he had a Wii. but that was the first Monster Hunter game I ever played. I didn't seriously really get into the series until World, I'll admit. But I specifically bought a 3DS for 4U and Gen, and I bought a Switch basically for Rise. You know, and with emulators, I was able to play Freedom Unite and a little bit of Monster Hunter 1 as well. So I at least wanted to make sure I get a whole grasp of the series as a whole, because I really love it. I love the Monster Hunter series. I love it enough to go back and play the games that, oh my gosh, heaven forbid, don't have legendarily realistic lifelike graphics. Yeah, this dude, you're not going back to anything. Monster Hunter World is a realistic game with amazing graphics that Sony made popular, my guy. Monster Hunter should only be on Sony platforms because this is what you get with the others. Crappy games on crappy platforms for children, Lamau. I believe us Monster Hunter World players only want great experiences, and that's only on PS5. Alright, well, if you suffered through that just intense cringe, let's go ahead and break down what this dude's saying. First of all, Monster Hunter World was not a PS4 exclusive. It released on PS4 first, but it was not a PS4 exclusive. It was on PC and Xbox One. So even there, it's not like this is an exclusive. This isn't God of War. It's not like an exclusively Sony title. And to say that it should only be on Sony platforms, it's like, dude, why? Most, if not, well, Monster Hunter has, of course, a lot of different titles in the series, and most of them are on different platforms. You got Monster Hunter 1 on the PlayStation 2, Monster Hunter Freedom and Freedom Unite on PSP, you got Monster Hunter Tri on the Wii, you got Monster Hunter Generations 4U and 3U on the 3DS, Generations Ultimate on the Switch, and World on Xbox, like on all the modern consoles and PC. So, if anything, it's more of a Nintendo property than a Sony property. Crappy games on crappy platforms for children. I don't understand the disconnect that people have with, like, the Switch, as if it's some children's toy. Like, is it the red and blue Joy-Cons? Like, you can get them in gray. They don't have to be all colorful for kids. You know, just because the Switch offers Mario doesn't mean it's not a console for adults. You can get Doom Eternal on there as well. And us Monster Hunter World players. That just is so telling for the kind of person this dude's never played any other games. He only has Monster Hunter World to go off of. A game that really doesn't represent the vast majority of the series. Like, old gen Monster Hunter it's pretty similar, but it's a much different experience. And that's only on PS5. My god, you're lucky if you have a PS5. Like, still, it's been months after release and they are nowhere to be found. Gah. Not recommended. Played only about 20 minutes, but it was dull enough to realize this game is, put simply, dull. You can hide in a bush before a predator that is chasing you right in front of his eyes. He's like, oh, I guess he's just disappeared. He's definitely not in this bush that he just claimed into. Right then I decided to quit, only to realize it's not possible. You can't quit during an active quest. Really, I can't quit a video game. Ended the process and uninstalled. Alright, so the original quest, like whenever you land in the new world and you have to hide from those Jagras and they pass over, and I find it hard to believe that this dude is such a galaxy brain that he understands what's going on in a Jagras's head, and yet can't figure out that there's not only one, there's two ways that you can end a quest in Monster Hunter. You can depart from the quest, or you can abandon the quest. There's two different ways that you can leave during a quest. And then to uninstall the game before you've actually played the game. 20 minutes in Monster Hunter is like a year compared to the rest of world history. That's nothing. And to just uninstall the process. Oh my gosh. No, you haven't even experienced the game. That's fine, I wouldn't want this guy on my quests anyway, who am I kidding? Here we have a t-shirt advertisement. Welcome to Astera. Guys, do not support this company. They betrayed Sony with giving Monster Hunter Rise to a portable toy console while forgetting that us, the true Monster Hunter fanbase that made World a super success with 15 million sales on PlayStation. Here again, these people. What is it with you and Sony? Look, as a person who enjoys Monster Hunter, the more people who get to enjoy the game, the better. I want the maximum amount of people who want to play the game to be able to play the game. I am super excited to get Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch because I can not only play it in long car rides, on the train, on my breaks at work, I can also play it on my TV. And because I have a capture card, I can even play it on my computer, which means I can get it in basically any situation, which is great. I like that. It's not a toy console. The Switch is an incredibly useful and versatile machine. These people are selling themselves so short because they're shoved up freaking Sony's butt. A portable toy console while forgetting that us, the true Monster Hunter fan base, you're not. Okay? You're not. You realize this game has an incredible, huge audience in Japan, where Capcom is. Japanese people like to play on handhelds because they're constantly running around. They don't have dozens of hours at home where they can sit in front of their PS5 and play COD. Like, they're doing things. I'm not going to deny World was a huge success. It's the best-selling game Capcom's ever made. But, like, to call themselves like this, we are the true fans because we play on PS5. It's like, dude, you're newbies. You came here with World. You haven't been here. Like, you didn't play on Try, you didn't play Gen or Gen U or Freedom Unite or any of these other great games. You came here with World, and now because you sunk 100 hours in it, you think you own the franchise. And, like, betrayed Sony? Once again, this isn't God of War or Uncharted. This is literally Capcom's game. They can license it to whoever they wish. They've done it with Nintendo more than Sony. We can make a petition to force Capcom to scrap the Switch plans and make the game only available on PS5. We can band together as PlayStation fans and make our voice heard cause Monster Hunter should be a Sony property. Ignoring the audacity and just disrespect from this guy, does anyone seriously think that companies listen to any sort of petition anywhere? They look at that stuff, they take a sip of their coffee, and they go back to work. Nothing on change.com has ever done anything, and these people thinking that they're just gonna scrap an entire game that's pretty much done just to please their entitled butts is unbelievable. It's too slow and sluggish. I'll continue with this game, but I miss fast-paced games with an actual challenge. This is just slow AoE spam avoiding. It's getting boring very fast. I come from fast-paced games, and this feels like a slow-motion beginner's noob game, hence why the combat is so badly scripted. Capcom have dipped and have not revived the franchise. Upset emoticon. So here's the thing. Monster Hunter is not designed to be Devil May Cry. That's why Capcom made Devil May Cry, so that they could make a fast-paced action game. And if you want a fast-paced action game, go play one. There's dozens of them out there on the market. That's not what Monster Hunter is. Monster Hunter is more in common with Dark Souls than with Devil May Cry. It's very slow-paced, very methodical, very deliberate. The entire purpose of the game is supposed to be honing your skills, learning your weapon, learning the monster's patterns. And it's not like everything's in slow motion. Like, there's a lot of times where I'm on the edge of my seat. And, acting like that Monster Hunter used to be this fast-paced game is like, dude, if anything, World sped it up a lot faster. Because the older games used to be even more sluggish and clunky than World. Like, play Freedom Unite, that is more of a slog than even I like sometimes. Or especially first-gen Monster Hunter. Older gens are very sluggish. That's not to say that they're bad, but they are sluggish. Because it's not, like I said, it's more like Dark Souls, where you gotta be careful, learn your patterns, stay conservative, don't get greedy, that sort of thing. Never thought my hype for another Monster Hunter game would be reduced to zero. Hope the one after this hot garbage actually plays like a Monster Hunter game, rather than some weird cowboy air-hopping loony game. So, I don't really feel the need to comment on this one all that much. Yeah, so we're just gonna move on. I don't use mantles or those stupid iframe moves. You can simply do things by learning monsters. This just reeks of someone who he's super casual, and yet he thinks he knows pretty much everything about the game. He's the dude who carts 3 times on a quest and then acts like it was everyone else's fault, or the monster glitched, or my internet's bad. It's this kind of game. I don't use those darn kids' mantles. I fight like a real man. That sort of thing. Like, dude, use the mantles. They're useful. They're not complicated. Character creation models were super fugly, impossible to make a hot character. In fact, the character models in Conan look better than this garbage. Couldn't get past the hideous character creation. Trying to refund, but they refused me, so here I am leaving a thumbs down. After taking a second peek at the trailers, the world of gameplay looks identical to Terra. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so, wait a minute. Seems to be a redundant waste of time, lather, rinse, repeat, no actual goals to work for other than upgrading your gear, beating tougher bosses just to upgrade your gear to beat tougher bosses, and then 4,000 chapters and still the same trash. Oh my gosh. So, character models in the world are actually very impressive. Sure, the character creation model isn't like, you know, Black Desert levels of deep, which is fine, doesn't need to be. But the character models in Monster Hunter World are impressive. They're very, very, very good, especially compared to a lot of other video games. I was impressed. I like the character models in World. They look really good. I didn't really have anything else to say. Like, the cutscenes, they look great. I have nothing else to say. This dude's just incorrect. Look at the character creator models from older gens. That is super fugly. Like, that's what you mean. World characters are great. It's a massive glow up. But then, like, just imagine refunding it, or trying to, at the character creator. Like, why? And then he goes on to say that it's like the same thing. Lather, rinse, repeat, waste of time, upgrading gear. Like, yeah, that's the game. That's your goal, is to get stronger. The basic core tenet of Monster Hunter is kill monster, make better gear, kill bigger monster. That's basically Monster Hunter boiled down to its finest essence. It's a slow power creep from beginner all the way to the top, where you start off wearing cloth and you end up wearing the armor skin of a dragon god. That's Monster Hunter. That's the goal. Like, there really isn't a specific end credits. Like, you can play the game forever, and there really is no end. The basic goal, like, once you finish it, it's just, you know, have fun. Play around with whatever monsters you like. Experiment with different weapons and different armor sets and different skills. Have fun. That's the goal. It's not like a story game where, like, you finish the story and that's it. Like, you can play forever. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't want to buy Noob Dark Souls. Moving on. Monster Hunter fans mad that not everyone likes their clunky spend 20 minutes sharpening your sword combat, I see. So, you know, like in a Zelda Breath of the Wild, you know, you're running around and then you see like those like piglin, goblins, whatever. I really didn't play much Breath of the Wild. And then you go and you attack their camp and you kill a couple of them and your sword is about to break and you're like, oh crap. And then you hit another enemy and then it breaks and then you're screwed and you have to run away and then you probably die. I don't like that. I don't think people with Monster Hunter would like that either. Like if you had to play it and your sword broke and you had to go back to camp to get another sword. The sharpening mechanic, first of all, takes like less than 10 seconds and is a nice little mechanic because it ratchets up the tension and balances it out. Like you'll have a super overpowered weapon that does intense damage, but like the purple sharpness doesn't last very long. So you gotta constantly think like, oh, I better be careful, conserve my hits because I gotta sharpen my weapon really soon. You know, or it's a good mechanic. I like it. It ratchets up tension, it adds some balance and some difficulty. It's a fine mechanic, and it really doesn't take very long. And if it really bothers you that much, there are decorations where you can shorten the time. Shorten your cycles. Only have it so that you sharpen it once. It's even better than older gens, where the whetstone was like a thing you had to carry on multiples of, like 20, and you could just run out. Here, you only have one, and it has infinite uses. So it's even more forgiving than it was in the past. It doesn't take long. This is not a bad mechanic. anyone who buys Rise is a traitor to the Monster Hunter values. Okay, let me stop you right there. What does that even mean? A traitor to Monster Hunter values? What are you smoking? Things should get an upgrade, not a downgrade with new products. And how much you want to bet this dude's talking about graphics? Well, how much you want to bet? People willing to buy and play it are the same Nintendo shills who buy the same rehashed Pokemon games. No respect for gaming. If you can't put Monster Hunter World level graphics into a new game, it should not be brought into existence. Whew, yeah, that was another cringe take. Yeah, that's an incredibly stupid thing for someone to say. That a game doesn't deserve the right to exist just because it doesn't have photoreal graphics. That is such a dumb thing to say. How no respect for gaming. Unbelievable. Graphics do not make a game. There are actually not a whole lot of games that I've played that I specifically remember the graphics of. There are a few, but there's not really a whole lot. The one example that comes to mind is Metro Exodus. If you haven't played it, just play it. It's a really, really good game. But the graphics in that game are gorgeous. They're beautiful. And that's one thing I really remember. I mean, the story and the characters and the gameplay was great as well, but the whole game was great. Just play it. But like the graphics in that game, I specifically remember them being great. But most of the time, like with a game, I remember the gameplay, the experience, the memories, the characters and the story. You know, that's what sticks with people, not graphics. I have fun with PlayStation 1 and 2 games. Their graphics in there are dated as heck. That doesn't stop me from having fun. Graphics don't make or break a game, unless they're, like, truly terrible. They're a nice little bonus if the graphics are really good. And I'm sorry, but for a Switch game, Rise looks fantastic. I am super impressed with the graphics in Rise. I have no complaints whatsoever. They look great. I hate this argument. It doesn't mean anything. How are fanboys actually pleased with this game? It looks worse than Dauntless XD. How can you go from the masterpiece that is a Monster Hunter World and enjoy Rise? So, even though Monster Hunter World is great, it's easily one of my favorite games of all time. Like, top 5 favorite. Would I consider it a masterpiece? Depends. There's a lot of problems with some of the stuff that they introduced in Iceborne especially. Is not a perfect game at all. But, like, comparing it to Dauntless? That's an insult. Because, look, I played Dauntless. That is Monster Hunter Jr. That's Fortnite Monster Hunter. You want to rant about how, like, Monster Hunter is a kid's game? If you were talking about Dauntless, then I'd be able to understand. Dauntless sucks. Rise does not. Y'all really messed up and took a step back by not just continuing Monster Hunter World. Let me stop you right there. Monster Hunter World is done. It's over. The game came, and we had fun, and now it's done. It's over. I'm probably not really going to play it much anymore. It's not like this was their first game. There were a lot of other games. Generations has really nothing to do with Tri, and Tri doesn't really have much to do with Freedom Unite. Freedom Unite doesn't really have much to do with the first game. They're all self-contained. They all tell their own story and have their own little villages and stuff like that. It's not like World was like, there's not going to be a World 2. Like, World is done. It's over. Iceborne and the story is done. It is time for the next game, Rise. And after Rise, there will be another game that won't have much to do with Rise. That's how this works. I think it's about time that Capcom brought the franchise up into the modern era with paid boosters and loot boxes, both to bring revenue throughout the game's life cycles and to reward its more dedicated, i.e. their hard-paying fan base. 24-hour boosters, 99 cents each, increased HR, quest loot, rare loot, higher chance of gold crown, 10-pack of random boosters, $5, 72-hour boosters, $2, loot crates, $2 each, several exclusive prices rotating out monthly, random weapon armor, random full armor set, $10, hunter pass, $20 a month, random full armor set. This is making me mad even just reading this. This is ridiculous. Of all the bad takes, this is honestly up there with the worst. This person has missed the point. Whoosh. It whooshed over the top of their head. This is the most insane suggestion anyone could possibly come up for with Monster Hunter, ever. I don't know who in their right mind advocates for loot boxes. I don't know who. I don't know who did or why. But no, don't put loot boxes in Monster Hunter. The entire point of Monster Hunter is starting at the bottom and slowly working your way up to the top, learning your enemies as you go, getting stronger, getting better gear, conquering more and more monsters until you're at the top. That's the point. Literally, the point of the game is killing monsters and upgrading yourself, getting better armor and weapons. So to just bypass that with stupid microtransactions, can you imagine? Can you imagine someone just cleared the Great Jaguar's quest? They're like Hunter rank 3, and they go into the shop, and they drop $300 on this crap, and they have all the best weapons and gear. Let's just say they were really lucky. They got the best weapons and gear, and they're running around with like Elatrion gear, destroying everything in low rank. Would that be fun? Would that be challenging? I would never play multiplayer again. This is ridiculous. Pay their more dedicated fan base. You mean the ones who pay? This is so dumb. Granted, I'm pretty sure that this is a very vocal minority. I'm pretty sure that if you posted this in just the normal Monster Hunter subreddit, people would be like, you're nuts. But still, the fact that someone could honestly suggest this and go into this amount of detail honestly scares me. Like, this is ridiculous. World is the ultimate Monster Hunter game, so I don't need to play the other crusty games with 2001 graphics. Portable gaming is irrelevant, and it should not be a thing in 2021. What is it with these people hating on portable gaming? I love my Switch. I love my 3DS. I even love my PlayStation Vita. They're great. They're really cool. You can take them wherever you want. Since when do gamers not like to play games 24/7? This is literally what that provides them that. The ultimate Monster Hunter game. No, Gen U has more monsters than World. And let's be honest, World has its share of problems. Yes, it has the best graphics, but if that's really all you're going off of, it's just shallow. Why is this the only thing they care about? If you don't like portable gaming, then just don't do it. Like, these people have to have a problem with other people enjoying themselves. Then just don't portable game. No one's forcing you. Monster Hunter World is the best Monster Hunter because it has the best graphics. Oh my lord, this one's gonna be nasty. Reduce monster... Alright, this game changes that will help Monster Hunter blow up. This one's gonna be a chore. Having a good time with the game. I'm doing pretty well, but I was thinking about this today, and I have some new ideas. Let's see what they are. Reduce monster health by half. Right now it's a snooze fest because it just takes so long to kill monsters. In many respects, monsters are just sponges. This should not be the case. Make the fights more engaging, and don't make them so tanky. This dude wants to have the monster's health bar. That's how he opens his argument off to a fantastic start. Introduce a toggle lock-on system. I think we all hate the camera. Make life easier by having a toggle lock-on system. Okay, alright, I'll let that one slide. That one's fine. Okay, you can have that one, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Introduce monster health bars. No. No. You're supposed to learn certain things. As long as the monster doesn't tell you when it's getting low, it'll flinch more often, it'll get exhausted, it'll start limping away. It gives you little clues. That'd be dumb to have a health bar. And if you really want one, use an overlay. They exist. Other people are way ahead of you. Streamline the weapon and armor system. Stop making all the good gear upgrades. It's not really a good experience to have to farm a new set of armor. That's the point of the game. Why don't these people understand? Introduce a battle pass. Okay, we're just gonna stop right there. I don't care that Modern Warfare had one. This is not Modern Warfare. Stop. Just stop. Just stop. So I am halfway through Monster Hunter World, and Handler is very attractive, I think. Do we get any options to mingle with her, or are we just gonna continue spanking monsters? Would be great if there was an option. Spank monsters. So I am halfway through Monster Hunter World. We just get any options to mingle with her, or we just gonna continue spanking monsters to mingle with her, or we just gonna continue spanking monsters.